Hey everybody, welcome back. Just getting things rolling a little bit before class time, but if you're here watching the live stream, good to see you, and hope you're having a great start to the week. Well, end of the week. What day even is it anymore, right? But we only have a couple more meetings. I guess my mind is thinking about how we're starting our review sessions now. So we have 2 review sessions and then the final exam coming. Today's going to be part 1 of that. So basically, I'm just waiting for 11:10, and we'll go through the study guide. If you already have it pulled up, that's good. If you don't, I mailed you the copy of it again. It's the same study guide that we used for the first half of the class for the Hey Maddie for up till the midterm. So you already had a copy of it from previously, but I sent another identical version of it this morning just so that you definitely have it. Hi, Chris. So yeah, we're just going to go through the study guide one time today, the first one, and then we'll do the second one on Tuesday, and then you guys will be good to go for your final. Hi, Carmen. So yeah, that's about it. Hopefully your other classes are going smooth and, you know, making the best of this difficult, scenario that we've all been handed, but what else can you do, right? Just do your best. Cool. I don't know if you guys have any summer plans. Probably not too much now that, travel opportunities and stuff are obviously limited. But whatever you are going to end up doing in the summer, hopefully you can enjoy it and at least, feel like recharged heading into the fall. But we do have a little bit of business to still finish, a couple matters to attend to. So we'll take care of our review sessions for now. Hey, Mason. Good to see you. Okay, good. Numbers keep coming up. That's nice. Hey, Kevin. Good to see you. Good morning. Hi, Veronica. Nice to see you too. Awesome. So I'm glad that you guys are here. The more the merrier. Obviously, everybody knows how to watch these live streams later, but when you're in there live, I think you're going to get the most value, most bang for your tuition bucks. Retain the knowledge better because it's guided and it's interactive. You guys are definitely doing a service for all the other students that benefit from you being the ones that interact, but life is too short to be worried about it. So I'm just glad that we're here to do it. Cool. All right, a couple more minutes. 1 second, I'm just gonna give myself a little sparkling water. I will say it is pretty nice being able to just be right next to my fridge and I'm lecturing and teaching you guys. Got all the comforts of home. Okay, just another little bit of time, a minute or so. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, maybe some of you guys just checked in now, but feel free to pull up the study guide. If you have a printed copy, that's great. If you just have a electronic version of it either on your phone or in a separate window, just have it handy so that you can kind of see the information that we're going through as we just discussed the study guide. Okay. Hi, Sebastian. Good to see you too. Okay, guys. So I think it's more or less class time now, so I guess we can get started. Good morning to everybody. Welcome back. Glad to see you guys, and hope you're doing really well overall in school, in life, and everything in between. Today we have a key meeting because we're getting close to the final. The final is a week from today. That's Thursday the 21st. So a week from right now, you guys will be taking that test, which I'll send out to you in the same way that I've delivered a couple of the past quizzes and the midterm. But we have 2 review sessions before that. Also, don't forget, hopefully you didn't forget, that the final 4th homework is due today. So that should be in my inbox. If you haven't already sent it, please do so. I'm willing to be a little flexible if it's coming into me, today or this afternoon, although my expectation was that it would be in before class time. But obviously things that arrive to me any later than today, I'll have to deduct a little credit. So just try your best if you haven't already. I'm sure probably most of you did turn it in, especially if you're watching this right now. But anybody that hasn't, just a quick reminder, today is the due date. Okay. So any questions for me about anything at all? So also just to let you guys know and remind you, I did finish the grading of your other quiz a while ago over the weekend. I sent a message on Monday that I had those scores ready for you. So some people have contacted me and gotten their quiz grades back. Some haven't, but if you do want it and you want to know about that score or anything else in the class overall, feel free to email me, and I'll get back to you in the next day or so after you email me. I'm dealing with a lot of messages right now, but I can definitely pledge that anybody who does send me one message will get a reply no later than the following day, before the end of the next day. So anyways, I'll be turning those messages around pretty quick. I'm also going to be grading your 4th homework this weekend because I want you to know all of your scores going into the final. So for sure, those will be ready before the weekend is over, and maybe Monday at the latest. But I'll notify you, and then you can ask about the grade that you did get on the 4th homework too. Okay, so are we all on the same page with all that information? Basically, we're just looking forward to our final exam. The final's cumulative. It covers everything in the class. There's going to be a little bit more focus on the second half of the class in terms of the questions, but I'm going to sample from all the different stuff. These 2 study guides that I gave you, they give you a sense of all the different topics. Is it possible to type on the study guide? Sure. I mean, the study guide, I'm never going to see it again. That's something for you. So you can have it. You can just print it, view it, download it. But I have no knowledge nor interest in what you do with your study guide, except for the fact that I hope you're using it to study with. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go through the study guide. I have a few different thoughts about how we could proceed in our review session today. I would love it if we could just be really efficient with the time and just get through the questions. In a way, the best way I think to do that would be to kind of divide up the questions and have multiple students at a given time all looking at separate information. And then when I see that you've written an attempted response, then I'll just go through them as I see them in the live chat. Okay, so if that's something that you guys think would be fine, I see that we have, let me count up right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I see 8 different people that have just written something down in our live chat. I don't know how many overall there are here. It says there's 11 actually, so I guess there's a couple others that haven't said anything, but that's fine. So let's just do this if you guys are okay with it. Let's try to go over like 8 questions at a time with this core group of 8, and then maybe I can recruit a few additional people as the meeting continues. Okay, so let me see, make sure you guys are all present. So when you hear me ask for your name, just tell me if you're here. Okay. Maddie, you're here, right? Chris, are you here? Okay, I see you, Sandy. So just if you are, write present or something in the chat stream. So Maddie, Chris, Carmen, Mason, your screen name, I kind of forget what it corresponds to with your first name, Butler versus Hitwin. Sam, Long, okay. As many as I can see, then I'll divide up the questions in that way. Sebastian, Veronica, oh, no worries, Brian, that's fine. Okay, so anybody that's here watching, please just let me see that you're present, and then I'll be able to tally up the numbers. Okay, cool. So I'm starting my little list here in the live stream, which you guys should see, with Sandy at the top. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of you guys that have said something. Veronica, are you gone? Maybe you're busy at home. That's fine. So, okay, let's then go in this 10 by 10 sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so the 10 names that are listed here, Sandy all the way down to Bill, that's 10 different individuals. Let's just assign each one of you guys, okay, there you are, Veronica, you're number 11. Let's assign each one of you one of the questions in the first chapter 8 study guide, first part of the first study guide, okay? So if you're looking at that list, you'd see, well, I know this is not really easy to see on my phone because of the glare and everything else, but on the study guide, which you have access to, is it possible to type on it? Yeah, Chris, I mean, yes, you can type on it if you download the file, but it really doesn't matter much either way. I mean, you can write by hand, you can take notes in any other way. So, okay, look, Sandy, if you can hear me, I just want you to give an answer for question number 1, okay? Chris, I want you to give the answer for question number 2, okay? Carmen, if you could give the answer for number 3. Sam, the answer for number 4. Long, the answer for number 5. Brian, number 6. Maddie, number 7. Kevin, number 8. Sebastian, number 9. Bill, number 10. And Veronica, number 11. Okay, so you see I gave each one of you a question in the order 1 through 11, starting with Sandy and finishing with Veronica. So I just would like each of those students that I gave that designated question to please type the answer to that question when you're able to type it in the live chat. And if you could please do me one favor, place the number of the question at the beginning so that I have that as a reference point, because they'll come in out of numeric order. So yes, please provide your one answer, and what we're gonna all see for now is like a batch of 11 responses that I'll talk through once each student has written theirs down, okay? And we'll just go through this procedure, you know, however many times, 4 or 5, and that'll reveal all the information on the whole study guide. If there's anything that's confusing to you or that you couldn't figure out, you can question and ask, and I'll try and help you. Or if your answer is a little off, or if there's something incomplete or inaccurate about it, then I would just tweak it a little bit as I go through each one, okay? So it's a little bit of interactive review session work. I just want you guys to come up with the answers for those first 11. So you've got your notes, you've got the textbook, you've got your memory. Put those things together and give me my answers for those questions. So it should just take a minute or 2, and then when you're done, the answers will roll in and we'll go. Okay, so good. Carmen's got hers, or his, I'm sorry. I'm kind of forgetting everybody's identity. Chris, good. Sebastian, thank you. Okay, so that's 3 of 11. There's number 4, or not number 4, but the 4th response. Good, so we've got 4 different responses out of 11. We're still waiting on the other 7. Okay, so that's good. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 of us have given the response. Just waiting for the other 5. No. Veronica, no. You're looking at the wrong section. You're looking at the wrong study guide, Veronica. There's 2 of them. We're doing the first one, so you got to go back, pull up the correct document, and look at number 11 in the original study guide. Wrong question. Okay, so for now anyway, let's see how many. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us. So I'm still just waiting on the last 3. Veronica, and then 2 more. Which document? Like I said, we have 2 study guides because this is a class that's comprehensive. So you have to use the first study guide, the one that I sent to you this morning, which is from the before the midterm, from the beginning of the class, day 1, until the midterm. That's what we're doing today, just that. Okay, so let me see and count how many we've got now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. Okay, yeah, so Mason, your question is number 7, Mason. Wait, make sure about that actually. You know what? No, I didn't even assign you one, Mason. Sorry. Mason, I did not assign you one because I wasn't able to get you to say present. So on the next round, I'll get you. Okay. So I'm going to go through the responses that I see here. Sam, come on. The question is, what is the definition of truth? Don't you just know that by like your own common sense? So let me go to the list of questions that I have gotten answers for, and I'll go over them. Okay, so first of all, Sandy, you had number 1. The question of number 1 is, what is a good or a bad critical thinker? Okay, so you say a good critical thinker is a person that will not believe a claim unless it is supported by good evidence or argument. Right, but that's not the whole answer though, right? Don't you see what it says? Also, what's a bad critical thinker? Plus, that answer is not fully complete. So a good critical thinker is a person that would not believe a claim unless it is supported by good argument or evidence. And when they make claims to others, they also make sure to provide good evidence or arguments to back the claim up. Okay, that's the first part. That they want evidence before they believe a claim, and they give evidence when they make a claim. So there's this incoming and outgoing flow of information, right? When it's coming in, you need evidence. When you're putting it out there, you give evidence. So that's the good critical thinker. But you didn't say anything about the rest of the question. What is a bad critical thinker? So that is a person who does the opposite, who believes claims when there's no good evidence for it, and also can't give arguments or evidence to support their own claims. Okay, so that would be number 1. Chris, number 2, argument. 1 or more sentences where one sentence is the conclusion and the others are premises. Yes, very good, okay? So then Carmen, the parts of an argument are the premises and conclusion to the premises. Yes, but you know, the thing is, that's not a substantive enough answer. You have to give definition of what the terms mean. So you have to say that the conclusion is the statement that you're trying to prove to be true, and the premises are the evidence, the reasons that support the conclusion. So like a word is never an explanation. If I say explain a concept, you can't just be like premises. You have to say what they are. Okay, so number 4, let me see. Something that is in accordance with reality. Okay, good, Sam. See, I knew it was in your mind, right? It's something that you should know. A true statement is when what the statement says matches reality. Like if I tell you I'm wearing glasses, that is true. And if I tell you I'm wearing a hat, no, that is false. Because one of the statements corresponds to reality and what is really happening, and the other one is a statement that doesn't match the circumstances. Like if I tell you I'm wearing a pink shirt, that's just a falsehood. That is like a lie, right? So true statements match the facts, false statements don't. Critical thinkers don't want to believe anything false, because to believe something false is to get it wrong, is to think that the world is a certain way, but it's actually not that way in reality. Okay, the whole point of this class is that you guys kind of get to the truth. Okay, so, good. Next up then, Chris, your question, she did both. What is that? But anyway, number 5, what is the definition of belief? So who had 5? 5, long. belief, when a person thinks that a sentence is true. Exactly, yeah. So belief is just when you, the individual, assume or consider that a statement is true. You might not believe something. That means that you think it's false. And what you believe about a thing can be different from the actual facts. Like somebody can believe that, their child did not commit the murder, but they really actually did, because they're just blinded by their love for their child. They can't see the truth. So yes, a belief is just what you think is true. Now, number 6, conclusion indicator words. Brian, there are words like that. Hence, therefore, so, thus, it follows that, consequently. Those are all good examples. Okay, very good. Number 7, what are some premise indicator words? So for number 7, who has number 7? Let me find that. Yes, Maddie. So yeah, words like because, since, given that. These are words which indicate that you're about to hear the evidence or the reasons for the conclusion. Okay, good. Number 8, what is an imperative sentence? Okay, so I'm looking for my student with number 8. Who's the number 8 person? Maybe I have to deduce it by going back up a little bit. Or I'm just overlooking it for a minute. Kevin, where are you at? Oh, there you are. I see you. Thank you. So it's a sentence used to convey a command. That's what an imperative is. It's something like make me a sandwich, or open the door, or take out the trash. So it's like it is a command. It's a directive given to somebody. Okay, then what's an interrogative sentence? And that's number 9, which would be Sebastian. And just looking for that information. Yes, so an interrogative is a question. That's just a sentence that ends with a question mark, like what day is it, or where am I, or what's your favorite color? Okay, good. What's an assertoric sentence? That's question 10, and that would be a question for Bill. Just seeing it here. Okay. No, Bill, again, no, wrong. Like I said to Veronica, you have to use the correct study guide. You're looking at the second study guide, but today is the day where we're talking about the first one. So everybody please use the correct study guide. Appeal to force, the question you're answering has to do with stuff that is in chapter, whatever the chapter about fallacies is. I think it's chapter 5. But right now we're talking about the beginning of this class. So it's okay. What the question was is, what's an assertoric sentence? An assertoric sentence is just any sentence that has got a truth value. Okay, and Sandy, sorry about that. Let me see if I can find the second part. 1, and then finally later 2. Okay, not to worry. Thank you for that. This is just sometimes, flow of information gets confused. But yeah, thank you very much. Got it. Now, what I just said, an assertoric sentence is a sentence which is either true or false, like Las Vegas is in Nevada, or I was born in the 1980s. These are just statements that have got a truth value. And those are the type of sentences that are used in arguments as premises and conclusions. And so finally, Veronica, number 11, a deductively valid argument. Is premise of the argument are all true? No. Okay, Veronica, I know that I've tried to say this so many times, but you have to really precisely get the correct definition of deductive validity. The definition is that if, let me just pause right there, if the premises are true, then the conclusion must also be true. So you cannot say all the premises are true, because a valid argument might not have even one true premise. Like all dogs can fly, Donald Trump is a dog, like a canine, and therefore he could fly. That would be a valid argument, but both premises are false, okay? Deductively valid does not mean the premises are really true. It just means that if they were, then the conclusion would have to be as well. So just remember if, then. That's an essential 2 words that have to be placed in the definition of deductive validity. Okay, good. So we've gone through the first 11, and now we're going to continue from there. So let me then get the current students that are here, just please write out present one more time so that I can give everybody one question, and then we'll go on in that same order. Because, you know, the membership of the live stream is constantly changing, so I just kind of want to see who's here right now. Okay, Mason, that's your one. Who else? Everybody has to do this, so present. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. 8, 9. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, not to worry, Kevin. Thank you. 10 from Long. Who else do we have? Sam and them, come on. Let's see the present. All right, come on. It's easy to deduce who's trying not to say present. Fine, okay. So you'll get your just desserts in the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let me just give each of you guys a number then. Going in that same order, Bill, just do number 12. No, sorry, I'm starting with Mason. Mason, you're number 12. Sebastian, number 13. Brian, number 14. Chris, number 15. Sandy, number 16. Bill, number 17. Veronica, number 18. Carmen, number 19. Maddie, number 20. Okay, and then Long, you're going to just do that first one in the next section, number 1 under chapter 1. Okay. So go ahead and give me those. And when you've got it, just as before, type it into the live chat and just write the number at the beginning. Everybody's got their assigned question. Okay, Sandy, go. All right, good. That's 1. I'm waiting for the other 9. It's 2, 3. Okay. Right, got it. Okay, so we got 3 so far. So Sandy, write it all in the same chat stream, like, because it's too confusing to have it separated in 2 different parts. Please just write the answer again, but all in the same one with the number attached to it. Okay, Brian, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. No, okay, 5. Okay. It's okay. Just please do it again. 1, 2, 3. Okay. We got 7 so far. There's 8. Okay, just 2 more coming in. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I'm correct, there's still one that's supposed to be here, but let me just go over the ones that are currently on the board. So number 12, the definition of a sound argument. The person who's given that question, Mason, good. So sound argument, but please write the number next time. That's what I'm asking for. Okay, so a sound argument is when the premises of the argument are true. Yes, but there's one missing element to your definition. So a sound argument is a valid argument where all the premises are true. So you have to also include that it's valid overall. So it's a valid argument logically, but on top of that, the premises are actually true. So like, I don't know, all human beings were born on the planet Earth. Tom Cruise is a human being, therefore he was born on the planet Earth. That's a valid argument, but the premises in that case are true. Now here would be a valid argument that's not sound. All human beings were born on Mars. Tom Cruise is a human being, therefore he was born on Mars. Those are both valid arguments, the one about Mars and the one about Earth. It's just that the first one is sound because it actually has true premises, whereas the second one is like logically valid because the conclusion follows from the premises, but the premises just aren't actually facts. Okay, good. So then next, question is, give an example of an argument that's valid but not sound. So that should be question 13. Sebastian, valid but not sound. So you give this example. All men have blue hair. Donald Trump is a man, and therefore Trump has blue hair. Exactly, yes. That would be a good example of a valid but not sound argument because it just claims all things of a certain kind have this feature. Here's one thing of that kind, so it has that feature. That's valid, yes. But it contains a false premise which says that all men have blue hair, which is clearly not true. Okay, thank you. So next, question 14. Oops. So, oh, no. So 14 is an example, 12 is a definition. Thank you. So sound argument from Brian. All humans have a brain. I am a human, therefore I have a brain. Good. I see why you think this is a good, valid, sound argument. Although I think there are very rare exceptions. There are some birth defective babies born encephalitic, meaning without a brain. So it's not impossible for that to actually happen, but I understand that's a very rare case, so I would accept it in general. Okay, thank you. So valid, definition and example of inductively strong and inductively weak. So where is Chris over here? Strong. Plants being around will always be around. A pothole being in the road will always be there. Okay, yeah, kind of. First of all, let's talk about the definition. Inductively strong means that if the premises are true, then the conclusion is likely to be true. Not that it must be, but that it is likely to be true. Now, you gave 2 examples, which are just one sentence. But an argument has to have at minimum 2 sentences. So you'd have to put together like 2 pieces, like there always have been plants, therefore there will be plants or something next year. I guess that could be an inductively strong argument, but it would be good to, you know, state it in the proper way. And then a weak inductive argument would be something like something that's not likely to necessarily be true, even if the premises are. So you say a pothole being in the road will always be there. Yeah, I guess because potholes are fixed and stuff, but it's not the most well-stated example. I think better to use like something that is a random coincidence, like, you know, I found $5 on the street yesterday, so I'll find $5 on the street tomorrow, or something along those kind of lines. Okay, so good. From here, disjunctive syllogism, that should be number 16, and I'm looking for that. Yeah, so Sandy, your example is separated into a couple points, but here's what you wrote overall. I will either eat noodles or fried rice for lunch. I did not eat noodles, and so therefore I did eat fried rice. Good. That's how disjunctive syllogism works. You have an either or statement at the beginning. After that, one of the two things is denied, and then the conclusion follows. So either A or B, not A, so therefore B. That's like the generic form of the mode of the disjunctive syllogism. The or sentence is called a disjunction, and in the second premise of such an argument, one of them is eliminated, and that leads to the conclusion, which is the other disjunct. Okay, so modus ponens example, that's number 17. And Bill, you gave this one. If I eat vegetables, then I'm healthy. I did eat vegetables, therefore I'm healthy. Yes, the form of modus ponens. So this is disjunctive syllogism here. Modus ponens has this form. If A, then B. A, so therefore B. That's modus ponens, and that's the kind of example you gave, which is correct. Okay, the next is modus tollens. So Veronica, you have modus tollens. If A, then B, not B, so therefore not A. If it's sunny, then it's not raining. It's raining, so therefore it's not sunny. Okay, this is a decent example, Veronica, but I just want to say one thing that will make it a little less confusing to you and to everybody else. You do not have to have the then statement be a word that has not in it. Like, if I cry, then I'm not happy. Because to reverse the not, it has to be not, which is the affirmative version of the statement. I think it's logically simpler to just have the if-then both be stated in the affirmative, so that when you deny the then clause, the word not appears in the denial, okay? So modus tollens has this format. If A, then B, not B, so therefore not A. So if I get stabbed, then I will bleed, but I'm not bleeding, so I didn't get stabbed, for example. Okay. Chain argument should be number 19. That's Carmen. So you give this one. If I go to bed late, I'll wake up late. If I wake up late, I'll miss the Zoom lecture. If I miss a Zoom lecture, I'll lose points. So therefore, if I go to bed late, I'll lose points. Good. That's how chain arguments work. The chain argument is just a bundle of if-thens. So the form is if A, then B, if B, then C. So therefore, if A, then C. That's chain argument. So good. You just had an example with an additional premise. In that case, the third one would have been mentioned as well. If C, then D. And then the conclusion, if A, then D. Standard form of an argument, question 20. Maddie, you saying this? Standard form of an argument. The premises are listed in a numbered vertical fashion, followed by the conclusion. A horizontal line is drawn to separate the premises from the conclusion. Exactly. And you're seeing examples like that written here. And when you write arguments out, if you're given a question like that on the final, you have to write it in standard form. Okay, and then last one from Long. What was the Milgram study? What did it show? And you said around obedience to authority figures, when they measured the willingness to obey an authority figure who instructed them to perform acts conflicting with their conscience. Yes, that's a little too generic. You need to be more specific. Like, what was the exact thing they asked them to do? They asked them to give electric shocks to a person whenever they answered a memorization question wrong. And the shocks were supposed to increase with voltage every time there was another wrong answer. And you have to also speak about the results. Like, what were the conclusions? Well, what was shown is that the majority of people, a solid majority of people, just followed the instructions all the way, and therefore did not demonstrate great independent thought, and rather just deference and authority. So that's good. No, I know you can't fit it all in 200 words, but you can just do your best. Okay. So thank you. We've gone over that set. Well, then just, I mean, write 2 different entries, that's not too hard. You could write one, copy and paste or the other and attach them both, or you could just do them both in quick succession. But anyway, okay, so let's go ahead. Next up, we have more questions under chapter 1. We got another like 10 of those. So let's see who's here present now. Go ahead and just list that you're present, and then I'll just divide up the questions. We're making good progress, and we should be able to finish maybe even a little early if we just stay on pace. Okay, so good. That's number 1, Brian. Who else? Okay, Chris, good. Sebastian, thank you. So there's 4, 5. 6, 7. 8. 9, thank you. Sorry, did I misspeak? You have to put present down so that I can see that you're so I can see which number to give you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, good. No worries. Okay, got it. So if I see others, I'll add them to the queue. For now, I guess, here's what we'll do. Starting then with Brian. Let's go with, okay, so under chapter 1, you have number 2. Okay, so Brian, number 2 there. Chris, number 3. Sebastian, number 4. Sandy. Okay, now, I'm really sorry, Sandy. There's quite a few things there under number 5. I just kind of wanted that to be like a one-stop shop for all these different concepts. I can help you with that a little bit, but maybe if you could just write some of the information that you can, and not a big deal. So, but number 5 for you, Sandy. Okay, Long, number 6. Carmen, number 7. Mason, number 8. Bill, number 9. Tuan, number 10. And Madison, number 11. Am I getting the right numbers here? 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah, so good. And then you'll be the first one, Veronica, under chapter 3. So just number 1, what is language? That will be your question there, okay? So everybody's been given one question, and that'll take us up through the next batch. And then we just have, I think, another 1 or 2 cycles of this, and we'll be good to go, okay? So we're just going through the whole study guide, and everyone's got a role to play. Brian, what I said was you have... No, you're actually, well, yes. Sorry, let me tell you. You are number, it's number 2, correct. Yes, number 2 in that section, correct. Thank you. So basically, if you look at the live stream, starting with under Chris's comment, makes sense. We have Brian through Veronica, and that goes in the order 2 through 11, and then number 3. Yeah, Chris, dualism, relativism, commitment, sure, but like, can you say a thing about what each word means? So I'm just waiting for those answers to roll in. No rush. Take your time, and I'll help you guys go through it once you're all done. Yes, give the definition as well. Okay, there's yours. Good. So I see a couple coming in. Veronica, good, thank you. So that's 3 out of 11 so far. Okay, there's another one, thank you. So we go up to 4. 5 of them. Also, yeah, I guess, Bill, you have a lot of information in yours as well. Sorry for that. Some of the questions could have perhaps been separated out a little more, but there's no rush. Just take your time trying to find a few more of those items. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, good. I'm seeing Sandy giving some of those. So let me count how many we've gone over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 9. Good. So I think just a few more coming in, and then we'll go over those. Thank you. Carmen, no? Okay, Madison giving more of those. Oh, I see you putting them all in the same question. That's good. Not to worry, I see it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's a few more I'm waiting on. So Carmen, Tuan, where are you guys at? Carmen, your question. What Long had was democracy. Yeah, rational life plan and self-esteem. Okay, good. That's good. Thank you. And then Tuan, what's up with that? After Bill's doing that kind of long one with cliche and stuff. So yeah, you have the types of narrow-mindedness. Yeah, that one's got a few little terms built into it too. So I guess we're just kind of waiting on that. But I'll start going over the ones that we already see here. Tuan, you're lost. I gave you this question, number 10, under chapter 1. Can you find that in the study guide? Do you have the study guide? It is number 10 under chapter 1. That's your question. The question, describe the types of narrow-mindedness. Yeah? So that would be yours right there. So just focus on the one number I give you when I assign a number to you. But you have number 10 under chapter 1. Yes, all of them. So while you're finding that, Tuan, I'm going to start going over the other answers that I'm seeing here. But not to worry. Okay. So looking at the list, we are beginning with Zimbardo Milgram experiment. And that would be Brian. So, Brian, Zimbardo experiment is this one. Now, Brian, you're talking about the wrong experiment, though. It's question number 2, Zimbardo. We already did Milgram above, if you've been paying attention. So, yes, do the other one, and I'll come back to you. All right, let's just get the numbers right. That's not the hardest part of what we're doing. Number 3, then. What are the 3 stages of cognitive development? And this is a question for, okay, this is Chris's question. So 3 stages: dualism, relativism, commitment. Yes, and you gave the specifics about each one. Dualism is the view that truth is black and white, and authority figures know the answers to all the questions. Yes. Relativism says that truth is just personal opinion. All opinions are equal. They shouldn't be judged. And then commitment is when you commit to your own views based on reason and the best available evidence. So that's correct. The cognitive development process goes in those 3 phases: dualism, relativism, commitment. And those would be the definitions of each part. So I'll just have to tell you guys about the Zimbardo, okay? The Zimbardo experiment, the Stanford prison experiment, the one where people were divided into prisoners and guards, and basically prisoners were getting abused and harmed by these guards, even though it was a total simulation. It got out of control after just 6 days and had to be shut down early. It shows that given some grant of authority and social support for what you're doing, people can lapse into bad and immoral behavior, even just normal people, okay? Then let's go on to the 3 stages of cognitive development, and then confirmation bias. Confirmation bias should be next. So finding it here. Whose question was that? Sebastian. The concept of confirmation bias. Yes, so it's when a person only seeks information that supports their views, the views they already have. So it's like going out into the world seeking information, but only looking at the stuff that agrees with your already settled opinions and perspective. Okay, so that's confirmation bias. Qualities of a good critical thinker. Now that's one for Sandy. And let me see what you have for her, Sandy. So flexibility, that's one of them. That's the ability to evaluate and be open-minded to different views and being able to change your mind or plans. Correct. Another quality of a good critical thinker, open-minded skepticism. That's not believing things unless they can be proven beyond some type of reasonable doubt. Well, method of doubt isn't really one of the qualities of a good critical thinker. It's a separate topic, but I understand why you're mentioning that. That's something, though, that I believe is asked in a different question, or is it? No, let me make sure. No, you're right. You got it. Thank you so much. Method of doubt. My bad. The method of doubt is to assume that something is false if there's any possible way that it could be doubted. You're right. Creative problem solving, the ability to come up with creative solutions to complex problems. Collaborative learning, being able to work well with others and take their opinions in view of an action that you're trying to take. To find shared solutions to common problems, right? So that's all good. Thank you very much, Sandy. Those are the qualities of a good critical thinker that we just went over. So analytical skills, effective communication, inquiry skills. I think you might have had a couple of the earlier ones above. Yeah, analytical skills, the ability to provide logical support for your beliefs, effective communication, speaking and writing and listening well. Yeah, so that's very, very good. Thank you. Next up, why is it important for being a citizen in a democracy? Long, you have the answer here. It's because in a democracy, people have to vote. And when you make votes, you have to consider arguments for different positions and different ideas. So a good critical thinker is good at analyzing information and coming to the best conclusions. That's helpful for voting, which is the core of democracy. How can it benefit you in terms of making a rational plan of life? Let's see. Carmen, because you can think for yourself and not be swayed to do the wrong or a dumb thing, defend yourself and your beliefs. Yes, you can rely on yourself because you know you have good judgment and you know that when things are tough and problems have to be solved, that you're capable of solving them using your own intellect and your own judgment. Okay, very good. Next up, what is the three-tiered model of critical thinking? Experience, interpretation, analysis. Let me find who's that question given to. Oh yeah, so Mason. First of all, experience. That just seeing what happened involves a first-hand event. I mean, the way you put it is a little bit under-specific. Like, it's just when an event happens, you point out what happened. That's before you try and understand why or how. So just what happened is noted. At the interpretation stage, you try to make sense of the experience by giving an explanation of why or how it happened. And the analysis stage is where you go back to the interpretation and you consider whether it's the right interpretation or if a different one is better. So, you know, your actual definitions here are a little wishy-washy, so sort of like you're just kind of coming up with it, but you got to go to the book and go to your notes and find the precise information for that. Okay, obstacles to critical thinking. So Bill, your answer, first of all, avoidance. That is to avoid people and information that conflicts with your own views, right? Anger, becoming mad at people for presenting information that conflicts with your views. Yes. I'm looking down further, Bill, for more. Conformity, adopting the popular or majority view in order to fit in, another barrier to critical thinking. Struggling, endlessly struggling over what action or position to take and never coming to a conclusion. Yes. And that was it. And then types of narrow-mindedness. Tuan, you had those. So first of all, absolutism. You can't stand up to authority. You always assume they're totally right. Egocentrism, believing that you're the center of everything and you have low respect for others. Good. Ethnocentrism, the unjustified belief in the superiority of your race or culture. That's correct. And anthropocentrism, the belief that mankind is the center of everything and animals and the environment are not as important. Very good. So that's all correct information. Rationalization and doublethink. That's coming down next. So yeah, let's see. Maddie. Rationalization, when you act without critical thought, and then you later on try to give a reasonable explanation for the action. That is correct. Yeah, so like if I do something impulsively and then later on I try to make it seem like it was a smart and wise choice based on information that I really didn't have or didn't use at the time. And then doublethink. That's believing two opposite things at the same time. Yeah. And then finally to Veronica, if I'm correct, it will be the information about what's language, right? So a language is a system of communication that involves symbols, and the symbols can be of three possible kinds: written, spoken, or nonverbal, like hand signs, sign language, or body language. Okay, good. So we've come through all of those. Thank you guys for your help. We've got a few more though, so let's just kind of try to finish as much as we can. Next up, we're going to start with number 2 in chapter 3. So as before, if I could just quickly get, as many of you guys as are comfortable in being part of this to say present, and then I'll give each one a number, and you just have to find your one little answer, okay? No pressure, not talking in class, you're back there, safe and sound at home, so you should not feel too shy about this, right? I mean, good. So Chris, that's 1. And continue, everybody present. I shouldn't have said if you're comfortable, because then you're like, okay, well, I'm not. But I don't care. Say you're present. Okay, present, present, present. Yes, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the rest, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on, you gotta do it. Come on, it creates good karma, you guys. Oh. 8, thank you. Or bad karma, if that's what the case is. So we got 9. Okay, good. I know there's got to be at least one more based on all the numbers and the record of the past 15, 20 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, so, I mean, continue. Just got to write present, and then we can go, because you need the information. So we shouldn't have all this dead air. Come on. Can you hear me? Is your speaker on? I'm saying write the word present so that I can assign you a question in the study guide so that we can complete our task, maybe finish early. Waste a lot of time just waiting for people to get involved. I just like another one. 10 is a good round number. 9 is not as good. So let's go. Doesn't that disappoint you that you're not going to say it? Anyway, all right. Fine, 9. 9 people. Chris, you are going to do number 2. Okay, thanks, Carmen. Perfect. Chris, you're going to do number 2. Sebastian, you're doing, this is under chapter 3. So if you're looking at the study guide, look at chapter 3. So Chris, number 2. Sebastian, number 3. Sandy, number 4. Brian, number 5. Bill, number 6. Long, number 7. Veronica, number 8. Madison, number 9. Juan is number 10 there. And then Carmen, you're going to do number 11. Okay, so let's do those. And then we just got one last short section after that to do. Okay, and so again, as before, put the number in your written response so that we can just make sure to see the number. And then if you need more than one text entry, then simply write continued or something in the second one, and I'll be able to link them together. So just take a few minutes, get those pieces of information, and we'll go over that. Okay, good. Bill, that's one of them. So the answers are coming in. Okay, there you go. Can you think of an example of that, Long, just by chance? Not like I asked about it in the question, but I know it's something I could ask, so just for the sake of discussion. So far, so good. Just a couple, and then there's our third one. All right, that's progress. Okay, good. All right, that's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. Okay, 6. That's good. Okay, great. Starting with aggressive. Just a couple more to mention there, Carmen. Aggressive. Well, okay, yeah, good. Okay, I see. And Maddie. Okay, good, perfect. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Yeah, I think we are good to go for the most part, and not to worry. I see the limitations, obviously, of the chat number of characters, but you guys are doing fine. Keep in mind, right, by having it done this way, where you guys participate and all do your little part, there's going to be a good record here kept in the live chat, because this is all archived. When you come back to this and you view it, if you want to study later, you'll be able to just look at the information provided here in the live chat, nice and typed out and very easy to read. So, I think there's definitely a logical reason to do it this way. Okay, so good then. Let's start off. I'll go in the order that I see them written here. Starting with Bill, your question was theoretical definition. That's pretty simple. It's just a definition of a scientific term, like gravity or mass or force or acceleration or inertia or entropy. Good. Okay, Long. Operational definition, the use of boundaries in order to create standardization. You notice, Long, that I asked you, could you maybe give an example, but you just kind of ignored me there. But yes, like what would be an example? Saying that 18 years is like the age level where you're considered an adult. Saying that 0.08 is the alcohol level where beyond that you're considered drunk when you're driving. I don't know, saying that a certain SAT score is like considered, I don't know, eligibility for some type of institution. So it's like when there's a cutoff, basically, and over that cutoff, a different designation applies. Those are operational definitions. Okay, so next up, I see Brian's answer. What is a stipulative definition? That's a definition given to new terms that emerge in a language. And so that could be like newly invented words that have to do with new social trends or new technologies, the internet, selfie, social media, I don't know, vaccine. These are like words that would not have existed maybe a long time ago. And when things like that are created, words have to be given to give meaning to things and to refer to them. Okay, so then Sandy, your question was, let me make sure I'm getting it here. Oh yeah, what is an informative use of language? Yeah, okay, so you have like, your question is the different functions of language, correct? Yeah, so informative, to make statements that are either true or false, like the moon orbits the earth or something like that, just a true statement or a false statement. Like Abraham Lincoln was the first president. That would also be false information, but it would be an informative statement by means of that definition. Directive, just trying to direct actions by using imperatives. Again, like wash the dishes or something like that. Expressive, communicates feelings and attitudes and tries to bring about an emotional response. Very good. Ceremonial language, used in official formal situations, like reading the Miranda rights or taking an oath of office or presiding over a marriage ceremony. Okay, very good. So then, going back through the responses, Veronica, what's a persuasive definition? You should think of it a little skeptically, and they're used to get other people to agree with your point of view. They're usually biased, so if somebody said, I don't know, like capitalism is theft, that could be like a persuasive definition. Or somebody says that, like, I don't know, meat is murder. That's a persuasive definition. It's trying to get you to think of something in a positive or negative way, not really giving you the denotative meaning of it. Okay, good. Next, we see Chris's answer. Functions of language. Well, so what happened with that? It looks like two different people gave the same type of answer. Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened. It would have been that, Chris, you did it right, Chris. You gave the functions of language that I was asking for. Now, Sandy, what your question, I guess, should have been, now that I'm looking here, would have been, what is connotative meaning? So I guess we didn't get that. But connotative meaning is just like meaning that is shaped or influenced by past experiences and associations. And they say that it can be either positive or negative. So if I use the word dog in like a friendly sense to refer to my friend, then I'm trying to associate to the loyalty and such of dogs. Or if I say like men or dogs, then I'm trying to connote the negative features of dogs, like that they're just brute animals. Okay, so as I go down further, Carmen, you're talking about the different types of styles of communication, right? So aggressive, you just want to get your way at all costs, no matter what, even if that ends up doing damage to human relationships that you're in. Passive is like the opposite. That's where you want to avoid confrontation no matter what. And so you back down easily in a conflict. Assertive, a good middle ground, where you speak calmly and confidently and you say to people what you want or need, but you also know how to hold back to avoid harming people's relationships. And then finally, passive aggressive, which in yours is continued down a little bit further. Passive aggressive is just, I'm trying to find where you continue. But anyway, what it is not coming out and saying openly and honestly what you want. Oh, I see it here, Carmen. But using indirect strategies of manipulation to get your way. So instead of telling somebody that they're being too loud, like you just start playing your stereo even louder or whatever. Okay, good. So from there, I see Maddie, qualities or criteria of a good definition. So one, neither too broad nor too narrow. Make sure that you don't get the typo there. You say neither too broad nor too narrow. This should be broad with the letter O instead of E. States all the essential attributes and doesn't leave anything out. That it's not circular, meaning the word does not occur in the definition itself. Avoids overly technical and obscure language, and it avoids emotional language. That's very good, and that's all correct. So, okay, and then Tuan, you had the different rhetorical devices. So there is euphemism, that's trying to replace a negative word with one that sounds better, like calling an old car vintage. Dysphemism, replacing a positive or neutral word with a negative one to make it sound worse than it is, like calling cigarettes cancer sticks or something. Sarcasm, using ridicule or taunting or insult to deflect critical analysis or thought, like nice job after someone makes a mistake. Deception, which can be either active or passive. That's simply saying something false to mislead, or withholding the truth. That would be active and passive, respectively. And then also hyperbole, which is the use of exaggeration or overstatement to distort the truth. Chris, no, you did the right thing. Somehow there was just a bit of confusion about that question, but you did in fact do the right one. Okay, so I think that we've covered all of those pieces of info. So good. Now, what's left over is just the stuff in chapter 5, I believe, or was it? No, chapter 4, knowledge and the limits of knowledge. So since we're running closer to the end, I'll just go through them one time with you guys, just talk through them, okay? So define knowledge. Knowledge is defined with 3 criteria. Justified, true, belief. So true means, as we said earlier, that the statement matches the world's facts. Belief means that you think that it is true. And justification just is having good reason or evidence to support that true belief. So justified, true belief is knowledge. Information that we believe, which is true, and for which we have evidence. Okay, rationalism. It's the school of thought which says that most human knowledge comes from pure abstract thought and reason. So like math and logic and trigonometry and stuff like that, geometry. This is like the basic main source of human knowledge. On the other hand, some hold the view called empiricism, which says that most human knowledge comes instead from the five senses and observation. So the things that you can see, taste, touch, hear, and smell. Oh no, it's good, Sandy, not to worry. So then, what is evidence? Something that can prove or disprove a claim. It's the kind of stuff that you would supply to try and convince somebody or even yourself that something is true or that it's not true. What are some good solid sources of evidence? So we talked about direct experience, seeing it for yourself or perceiving it in some other way. Testimony, when you hear or read from others some facts and you gain them secondhand that way. Memory, the ability to recall the previously perceived or attested facts. And then there's also inference, which is when you draw conclusions from some information to other information. Okay, what is false memory? False memory is when you think that something happened, but it either didn't happen or it didn't happen the way that you thought it did. So when you think that you can remember something which did not actually happen, or at least not that way, which is actually quite common. 4 qualities that we could use to judge the quality of an expert's testimony. So you could look at their education, how much they have and from where, their experience, basically how long have they worked and at where, their reputation, how are they perceived by their peers within the field, and their accomplishments. So do they have any titles, awards, honors, or publications that give further credibility to them. Anecdotal evidence and hearsay. These are 2 usually thought of as unreliable sources of evidence. So anecdote is just evidence based on one person's personal experience, personal stories, which sometimes are just not reliable. And then hearsay is evidence that you get, but it has come to you through a whole bunch of other people first. So it's like you're the last person in a chain of testimony who finally gets this information presented to you. So by the time it reaches you, it oftentimes has been distorted or changed. The CRAP test, C-R-A-A-P. The 5 letters each stand for a different way of judging the credibility of a piece of information. So C is for currency, how recent is it? R is for relevance. Does it have something to do with the topic that you're researching? The first letter A is for accuracy, or, well, there's 2 A's, so it doesn't really matter which is first, but accuracy, which means is it correct? Is it true? The second A, authority, meaning who provided this information and what is their level of expert knowledge on that. And then P is for purpose. Why was the information created? And is it there to push some kind of agenda or to profit, or is it just to inform? Okay, so CRAAP. Then different resources that you can use for research. We talked about going to the library, using the internet, relying on government documents, using academic journals, or just going to your dictionary or encyclopedia. So a variety of possible sources, or interviewing an expert. War of the Worlds radio broadcast. So in 1938, there was this radio broadcast that a lot of people tuned into, which was just for entertainment, and it was a voice reenactment of a science fiction novel. The plot line was that Martians had come to invade the Earth. Some people didn't know this was just for fun, and they thought it was really news. So a lot of people got into a panic and a frenzy, and even started in some cases to like have mild hallucinations as though they could see flying saucers. So it just reminds us that social influences can distort the way we perceive things, and that we would see or perceive things differently in groups than we would when we are alone. So to be mindful of that. The memorable events error is when you give more importance to something than it really deserves, just because it's uncommon. Like thinking that you're more afraid to fly than to drive, because there's more news attention that comes to plane crashes. Now, nowadays, actually, you might have a little bit of a risk flying because of the cabin, which circulates air and with the virus and everything. But we're just talking about the safety record of flight versus ground transportation. Okay. Because it's more likely, of course, to actually get into a car accident than to get into an airplane crash if you just crunch the numbers and look at the relative statistical frequency of a person dying in either mode of transport. Okay, so then misperception of random data. That's when you try to say that you perceive order or a pattern in something, but actually in itself it's random and meaningless. Like thinking that you can see like a face in a hurricane shown on a global satellite. Okay, probability error. That's just when you make a wrong estimation of the probability of an event. So when you miscalculate the likelihood of something, either overestimating or underestimating how likely something is. And that happens a lot. One example of it would be the gambler's fallacy, when a person thinks that the next bet has a different probability than it actually does simply because of the previous rounds of betting. Okay, self-fulfilling prophecy. That's when you expect something to happen, and because of that expectation, you end up doing things that cause it to happen. Like expecting that, I don't know, your neighbor doesn't like you, so you start to kind of not make eye contact or engage with them much because you suspect that they don't like you, but they sort of observe your behavior and start to dislike you because of it. So, you know, many examples could be given. One of us, one of them error. This is a social error where basically you divide people into the various groups of us and them, and then you show less respect and concern for them. This could be on religious, racial, socioeconomic, educational attainment, gender, orientation, nationality. So there's a lot of ways to divide people. But it's not a good thing when you do it just so that you can say, hey, those people are not as good or whatever as me and mine. Okay, so then it's diffusion of responsibility and the Kitty Genovese example. That is just a case where groupthink takes over. So basically, diffusion of responsibility is when you're in a group setting and each individual in the group does not feel any personal responsibility to do an action or to intervene. So nobody does anything. In Kitty Genovese's case, she was being attacked in her apartment and she was crying out for help, and a lot of people could hear her that were nearby. But all of them were thinking, well, this is a lot of people around, that someone else will call the police or do something for her. And since everyone had that same kind of thought, nobody did anything. You know, like there could be a situation where someone's like choking and there's a whole bunch of people around and they're just watching the person choke, like who's gonna call the police? But obviously if you had the ability to do it, you should take the individual initiative. Okay, and then last one is the Asch Experiment. So that's the one that was done by Solomon Asch in the 50s to test conformity. Basically the way the experiment worked was you had a series of lines. You had one standard line, and then you had three comparison lines, A, B, and C. And the three comparison lines were drawn in such a way that you're asked now, which one's the same length as the standard? Now, if you were just looking at that, I hope you would say, well, it's B. But in the Solomon Asch experiment, they coached 5 people to give the wrong answer all at the same time. So in this case, they'd be like, oh, C, 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 C. And then finally, the last person is the naive subject who doesn't know that the others are confederates of the researcher. And that's the one that the researchers were actually paying attention to see, would they give the right answer, which you can simply just see with your eyes, or would they conform to the group because everyone else unanimously gave a wrong answer? And over 3/4 of people gave the wrong answer. When asked later, why did you do that? Many of them were confused, thinking, well, I started to really look at it and think that my own perception was off, because how could 5 people be wrong? It must be me seeing some kind of optical illusion or whatever. So again, your judgment could be clouded or shaped by the social environment that you're in, even when it comes to something as obvious as judging the length of lines. So how much more obviously could that happen in cases that we see in everyday life, like on juries or, you know, in houses of Congress and all that stuff. Okay, so we've gone over all the information on the first half of the study guide. Now that you guys are, up to speed on that, hopefully we'll be able to hit the ground running on Tuesday and quickly go through the second part of the study material, which is the other list that I gave you in today's message. So, it's going to go like this. I'm going to, again, assign to the various students individual information to report in the live chat, and then it'll be in the live chat on a permanent record so that you can come back to it later, and that you can also replay the parts that I guess in this case we didn't get to cover by hearing me talk through it. I think that with the right time management, we can get through everything as a group. So hopefully on Tuesday we'll be able to do it. Anyways, then I guess I'll just say have a great weekend. If you don't have any questions for me or anything, then I'll let you go. Have a great one and take care. Stay healthy. We'll be back on Tuesday. If you hadn't turned in your homework, please do it right now or as soon as you can today so that there's no deduction of credit. But all right, guys, thanks again for everything. And I will definitely see you back in a couple days after the weekend. Bye-bye.